Coming up on today's Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the Sixers have a glaring issue they have to fix if they want to start winning ball games. Before we take a look at that, our November sub-battle pits us up against the Miami Heat and the Heat Report inside the walls of Chat Sports. Since the turn of the calendar month, the Heat Report has picked up 148 new subscribers. We can overtake them with today's show alone. You want Sixers coverage year-round? Hit that subscribe button right now and lock us in. Philadelphia 76ers have a lot of issues, but as they're off to this slow start, their biggest issue is this. They are an awful and historically bad three-point shooting team. And it might just be a personnel problem for Philadelphia here. The struggles from deep, they have been glaring. They have been present for the Sixers team, and they are second to last in the NBA. 31.5% as a team, just ahead of the Orlando Magic, 30th at 30.9%. The teams above Philadelphia. Some teams who are having solid years included on this list: Orlando Magic, they're a playoff caliber squad. The Houston Rockets, Sacramento Kings aren't bad. The Washington Wizards are terrible. But for Philadelphia to be this low, given the amount of talent and money invested in this team, it is not good. And it's really holding them back right now and costing them offensive drives, offensive possessions, and games at this point. 76ers, three-point percentage and attempts. Best player as far as knocking down some triples, Reggie Jackson, 41.7% on 3.1 attempts per game. Gershon Yabusele, 41.3% on nearly 4 attempts per night. You have Jared McCain at 40% at 6.3 attempts, and then after that, everybody else falls off a cliff. It's not a sustainable way to play basketball in this era where you need space and you need to knock down threes, and when teams rely a lot on the three-point bucket. Lowry, Martin, Maxey, George, Oubre, Gordon, Embiid. It's just not going to get it done, especially Joel Embiid at 16.7%. The problem this is creating in turn is that teams are loading up on Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain and then sagging off of guys like Oubre, Martin, and Gordon. So then the Sixers are having trouble with penetrating the lane, getting to the cup, because there's so much traffic and bodies down there. And no in-game adjustment can really fix that. I know Nick Nurse has had some weird substitution patterns, and he hasn't had his best year of coaching so far, but it's also personnel issues that Nick Nurse can't really do anything about. You have to figure that guys like Tyrese Maxey and Paul George will figure it out. Historically, they've been pretty good three-point shooters. The issue is that the other guys who have not proven to be consistent floor spacers might be who they are, and they might cost this team. Kelly Oubre has been so up and down as a shooter throughout his NBA career 32% guy. Caleb Martin, a career 35% shooter from long range. Eric Gordon with a lot of volume, career 37%, but he's also a veteran player who's in the twilight of his career. So, Chip, is this issue fixable with the current roster? Is this just who the Sixers are? Do they need to make a move to become a better perimeter shooting team?
Yeah, look, I'm a little concerned the way this is going because now we are, 16 games in the season. You're 3-13 on the year. And your best three-point shooters have been Reggie Jackson, Gershon Yabusele, a rookie, and Jared McCain. Look, I think Maxey will figure it out. I think Paul George, whenever he comes back, will figure it out eventually. But it does worry me, the construction of this roster, because, two of your best wings, in Oubre and Martin, historically haven't been great three-point shooters. Martin's been serviceable. He's been league average throughout his career, but been very inconsistent when he's played from deep. And, we're seeing his shot can be very flat sometimes. It almost looks like every shot he takes, it's different, because sometimes it's a straight line in the basket. Sometimes he gets that good arc on it, but regardless, it takes him a while to get that shot off. It's slow, and it's just not reliable. And then Kelly Oubre has never been a very good three-point shooter. Even last year, he was very good for this team. He only shot 32% from three. And then, of course, Eric Gordon, who, you signed for one purpose and one purpose only, to shoot threes, has been horrific. I think he's just cooked. I know he's been an above-average three-point shooter his whole career. I don't think he has it anymore. And then even guys like Lowry hasn't been good. And then when you combine that with the fact that Maxey and Embiid and Paul George have been awful, like, I just don't think this roster is constructed in a way where this can be fixed mid-season. So, look, in my opinion, if the Sixers want to figure this out, you obviously can't make a trade right now. It's too early with it being November. Most guys can't be traded. There's all these restrictions. But as we get closer to the deadline, hopefully this team can figure it out a little bit and stay, in contention. Then in my opinion, you got to make a move, because you do not have the guys on this team to be a good three-point shooting team. And what do we see from all the best teams in the league, right? They shoot a lot of threes, they take a lot of threes, and they make a lot of threes at a high percentage. Sixers just aren't doing that right now. And again, it's just not something I see being fixed without new players being brought in and a move being made.
Yeah. And like you look ahead to the NBA trade deadline, the issue here with the Sixers is that a lot of teams are going to be looking for three-point shooting. A lot of teams are going to be looking for that 3-and-D type of prototype who can play defense, knock down three balls, and that's what the Sixers are looking for. You have to imagine, can Caleb Martin get it together? Could some of these other players step up a little bit? But right now, it is a big issue for the Sixers team. So what say you? Do the Sixers need to make a trade for a three-point shooter? Type yes, type no. Let us know down in the comment section right now. Now you're lucky, because we like to inform people here on the show. Coming up next, some floor spacing trade targets for the Sixers. Players who Philadelphia and Daryl Morey could look at to bring in. But we want to tell you about some great deals, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Some 76ers hoodies. Fall is here. Winter is on the horizon. And these hoodies are awesome. You can check them out for yourself at chatsports.com/76hoodies. There's the Spectrum style. I'll never forget going to the Spectrum as a kid. Sixers logo right here. Awesome. I really like this black and blue look as well. Chatsports.com/76hoodies. You can get one. You can get multiple. Keep in mind that the holidays are coming up, right? And you might need to get a gift for somebody. This deal will apply for you and help you save some coin, look good, feel good as well. All right, some trade targets for Philadelphia to help improve some of their three-point shooting woes. A player who we've talked a lot about here on the show is Dorian Finney-Smith. The Sixers got a look at him the other night in that win against the Brooklyn Nets when Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey were looking like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson out there. Dodo is a player who can knock down the corner three at a very high level and also defend at a high level. He's very versatile with how he's able to defend a couple of different positions. Almost 11 points per game this year here on nearly 29 minutes per. He's connecting on 41% of his threes, 46.5% from the field, and he's shooting a lot of threes per game, 5.5. So a trade for Dorian Finney-Smith would be very interesting. I think the Nets as a team are open to trading kind of everyone. They've played above expectations so far, but I don't think they're a serious playoff contender as the season progresses a little bit. How about that Ben Simmons missed layup, by the way, on Friday? That was phenomenal. DFS gives you spacing, but he also gives you size at 6'7", 220. And then there's Taurean Prince, a well-traveled veteran who, like Dorian Finney-Smith, is long. He's pretty athletic. He can defend a couple of different positions. He's a player who's, battle-tested. He's played in a lot of playoff games, and even though he's been well-traveled, he's played on some good teams alongside some pretty good players. This year for Milwaukee, a team that's kind of been a disaster up to this point, 8.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 49% from the floor, 53% from three-point range, only on 3.8 three-point attempts per night, but he's a player who's also cheap, who could be expendable. Minimum salary player who I think fits Philadelphia perfectly if the Bucks do fall out of playoff contention, which would be a disaster for them considering they have Giannis, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton coming back as well. And then there's Cody Martin, the brother of Caleb Martin, currently playing for the Charlotte Hornets. Caleb Martin has been the better player throughout his career. Cody Martin, though, making some strides. Almost 9 points per game this year with Charlotte. 46.8% from the field, 40% from three, 3.5 attempts per night. The Sixers are looking for players who are going to come in and, let's say, play 15 to 20 minutes per ball game and be able to knock down some threes. Space the floor a little bit. Unclog the lanes. Ease the offensive tension and the offensive awkwardness that we have seen. Martin is playing for a bad Hornets team. Plus, he would be a player who I think fits in culturally, obviously, would be a good system fit, and it would be cool to have some brothers together on the same floor as they used to ball out with one another in college when they made that deep NCAA tournament run for Nevada, if I'm not mistaken. So, Chip, 3 players right there who Philadelphia could bring in as we look ahead to that February NBA trade deadline, which is going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a move. We know that they have been interested in DFS in the past, and I think that's a player they got to try to target, right? 41% from 3, fits that wing position they need, can defend multiple guys at multiple different spots, as you said. They had that KJ Martin salary. They got to figure out a way to use it because obviously he's not giving you anything. KJ Martin's barely playing. When he is, he hasn't been very good. So $9 million there, you have some money you can use. And you just need a different type of player in that lineup because, again, Kayla Martin, Kelly Oubre, both good defenders. They can slash a little bit attack, but have not been good from 3. You just need a different type of skill set off that bench.
Yeah.
Someone to, make a real impact, scoring the ball, spacing the floor. One name that was interesting that didn't include in this video, but is being talked about on the trade market right now, also from the Brooklyn Nets, is Cam Thomas.
Okay.
Very interesting because
flamethrower.
Absolute flamethrower. Not going to defend a lick. Is on an expiring deal. He's going to be a restricted free agent, but he's only making like $4 million this year because he's on that rookie contract. An interesting name to keep an eye on. I don't think the Sixers will go that route because they have Maxey, they have McCain, they have Lowry, Reggie Jackson, a lot of smaller guards. But could you imagine like a Cam Thomas coming off the bench giving you he's a real 20-point per game scorer and he can shoot it and fill it up. So, maybe not the most realistic trade target, but the Nets have said they are probably going to be moving him and moving almost everybody on that team. It's a name to keep an eye on if the Sixers feel like, some of these older backup guards aren't really very reliable as you move further along in the season.
Yeah, Thomas was a fun player at LSU, and coming into the NBA draft, remind me a little bit of Lou Williams, a player who's not going to play a lot of defense. He's always going to come in off the bench. Right now, he's obviously starting and getting a lot of minutes for the Brooklyn Nets, but a player who on a legitimate team can come in off the bench. You give him 10 to 15 shots in a specific amount of time, he's going to be able to score from all 3 levels and really help you out offensively, just not help you out much on the defensive side of the floor. That's why you have that anchor in Joel Embiid. Real One roll call. If you're still rocking with us and watching the show, type Real One right now in the comments section. And as always, we appreciate you.